So after a lot of coaxing, I was able to get my brother to come early to watch episode 4 with us.
Yo.
Even though he won't wear a mask. He says that, what do you say, domino masks are not going to work to hide your identity?
Domino masks do not hide your identity. If people had a brain cell in the DC universe, they could tell Dick Grayson is Robin.
Look. Fine, you're just going to have to stay off camera then. But we're on episode 4 of Arcane. We just finished up the first act, episode 3, a couple days ago. And I was like, it's really hard for me to wait to go ahead and watch episode 4. So my brother was able to go over here before work today. And so we're going to watch episode 4. We don't have any comments to go through because you all haven't seen episode 3 as we're recording this, but we're super excited. There was one thing about last week that I didn't get a chance to ask you about, bro, and that would be last week's episode was called Finally Got the Name Right. I'm sure people will have commented by the time they watch this video, but what did you think was the reasoning behind that name choice?
The fact that they used the word arcane like 10 times.
Do you think it is about Arcane? That's finally got the name right?
What's causing the biggest problem right now?
I was just asking. I was genuinely curious, but that makes sense. Okay. All right. So typically, if we go back to season 1, what happened in episode 4 after act 1? We did a time skip, didn't we?
Yes. At that point, we were getting our first look at the firelights. We were getting Jinx. We found out Vi is in that prison cell.
Yes, Vi was in the prison cell. We got Echo and the others introduced. Jinx.
Caitlyn. Jinx destroying the Progress Day.
Yeah, so we had like a little bit of a time jump to get to Powder becoming more like Jinx in episode 4. Yeah. Now we have, basically there's been a terrorist attack on Piltover. They've decided to declare martial law. They're going to go down to Zon, and it's kind of Jinx's fault inadvertently. Her and Savika are together. Vi has lost contact with Caitlyn, who's now in charge of the army. Meanwhile, Echo and Heimerdinger and Jace are like, oh no, what have we done? And are in a totally different story.
Well, Jace is going by, what have we done?
Yeah.
Because Heimerdinger told him a long time ago, you can't control magic.
Yeah, yep. And we didn't really talk a whole lot about Jace's flashback in last episode. Like, he had the flashback with the mage, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the mage saved him, right?
Saved him and his mom.
Yep, the mage saved him and his mom. Which, if he likens Victor to a mage, then I could see Jace having some sort of alliance with him. Because he'd be like, oh.
Well, he liked the mage before he understood what magic was.
And now...
And now he just saw, like, oh god, this thing is horrifying.
Yeah, as a kid, it seemed mystical and something he wanted to do, inventions to kind of chase after that wonder of magic and the newness of it and the innovation of it. But now he's seeing, oh, while it's innovative and doing good, there's also this horrific uncertainty and chaos of it that I didn't really understand until now. And it's like, oh, wait. And thus the what have we done? So before we dive in, because this is going to be the second arc, and we're going to watch this episode today, and then Wednesday get in episode 5. What do you predict for arc 2, for act 2? Like what do you have? I
think we're going to go back to Victor, and and he's going to have progressed that little society he has down there.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to be healing all of the hermits and all of the underworld, that sector that's kind of forgotten. I feel like he's got a little private army that he's building up, whether he calls it an army or not. I do think we have to touch base on Victor. Do you think Jace and Heimerdinger and Echo will find Victor and try to go find him?
I think first they're going to go back to the tree.
To the tree first, where...
Just try to find a way to follow where that corruption's coming from. And along the way, that's when they're going to run into Victor and them, because Victor was following a path as well. Right.
So it could be leading to the tree too. I mean, theoretically, it could be. It could be leading to the same place, and then their paths converge. I feel like we have Victor, Jace, Heimerdinger. They're all over here on this one path, and then you have Vi with the one guy. I think they're going to get together that defected.
He's going to inform her of what's about to happen, how Piltover is about to invade.
So you have Vi and him alongside the Jinx, Savika, and Caitlyn arc. And then, I think off to the side, you have Mel and whatever the hell she's dealing with. And then, conveniently, just giant wolf creature that's getting made. I don't know. we're gonna ignore and not worry about until episode like 7. So, or in the final moments. But yeah, it's so cold outside. My brother's wearing shorts and a t-shirt because the cold does not affect him at all. I am freezing. But that's okay. So I'm excited. I hope you all are as well, but we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to dive in to episode 4 of Arcane season 2. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. As you slurp so loudly. Okay. Okay, wait. Okay. You know all the secrets about this monster called Warwick. You know all the secrets and all the things. I don't want to be spoiled, but at the same time, I have questions. And you're nodding your head slowly. Okay, wait. It had 2-toned eyes. Is it? This is a yes or no question. Is it made from the genetic material of Silco and Vander?
Yes and no.
Is it made from the genetic material of Silco?
No.
Vander?
Yes.
Okay. Oh! So Vander's a werewolf!
Yes.
Oh my god!
That seemed experimented on in secret.
Oh my god! Oh! So when you watched season 1 and saw Vander, you knew where this was going.
At the end. Because at the end of season 1, they showed a corpse being strung up, and knowing Sting's history, I knew. Also, did you not tell the resemblance between Warwick and Vander after he took all the shimmer?
Well, okay. They kept Warwick in the dark for most of this episode until the last few minutes. And in the last few minutes, like when Warwick had Jinx up against the wall, I was like, oh, that kind of looks like Vander a little bit. And then when it said powder, I was like, oh! So...
Daddy's home!
I have lots of thoughts about this episode in general, but I am so glad you didn't say anything until... So this is your favorite?
Warwick is my favorite.
Okay.
He's gone through a revision.
I was like, you've been so hyped to talk about this for so long, and I've had to hold you back. And I know there's still so much left that there's probably going to be surprises for us, but the audacity of this episode. Oh my god, the audacity of this episode. There's a lot going on. Did this episode make me like Jinx? I've always been very critical of Jinx throughout this whole series because Jinx likes to... Before this episode that really gets into her and Isha and Jinx's MO, I've been critical about Jinx because Jinx has always kind of played the, well, because I've been traumatized, I'm kind of excused from being chaotic. And I've always found a fault with that because I'm like, she doesn't own up to a lot of the responsibilities that she has. And that's my biggest beef with her is that she's like, I'm going to wreck shit, but it's not my fault, trauma. And I've always had a problem with her about that. But this episode, I liked her so much more because we got a lot under the surface.
She was trying to get away from all the chaotic issues.
That's what made me kind of like her more. Is that
but it was the kid's fault.
Well... But she influenced the kid.
How do we snap this kid?
How do we reach these kids? Okay, so what do we think about the opening with the paint the town blue?
Obviously, it's been a while.
It's
probably been like a month,
maybe
a month
so.
and a half.
A month or so. Everybody's jumping aboard the Jinx bandwagon. There's like notably, all of the protesters are young. Except for there was that one woman that was older. She had like the streak in her hair. But most of them are younger. Like it's very emblematic of like a youth movement. They've made Jinx an icon, a symbol of their protest. everybody's painting their hair blue, and kind of like, which is hilarious because it's like kind of playing on the whole thing with the police and everything, at least in the US, and this is made in the US, so it's kind of a play on that. And then we see Ambessa, who is behind Caitlyn the entire time, influencing her and making her go through this. I thought the intro was fine. I thought it definitely got home the possibility and the meaning that... I love the shot of Caitlyn with her hands crossed doing the Gendo pose from Neon Genesis. Doing the Gendo pose where she's like, am I doing the right thing? But this is all I can do. Vi was notably absent this episode.
Yeah.
We don't know where... What is Vi gonna think about this? About Vander being turned into a werewolf Frankenstein. Vi's gonna be pissed. That's gonna be a thing of Jinx is gonna embrace this because it's Vander, and Jinx is gonna... Is this gonna backfire on Singe? Is Warwick going to like side
Singe
with...
doesn't care.
You don't think so? You don't think that Singe cares that his creation is not going to listen to him and is going to listen to Jinx instead?
His whole thing is, I'm doing all these deadly experiments. I don't care. I'm just going to move on to the next big experiment.
So you think this is just, he's like Jinx on acid? As far as chaos? Or he's more he's more driven by the science of it?
He is more like Victor Frankenstein if he didn't care about the creation he made.
Mm.
If he didn't care if the thing liked him or not.
I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like I'd want Singe to have at least some objective, because why go through all that trouble to create Warwick if you weren't going to do anything with him?
For progress. He just proved that he could make...
He could reanimate a body and make it into something. And
remember, he took parts from the wolves.
Yeah.
He basically just proved that he could create life.
Oh, well, this ties to our whole thing with Singe versus Victor. You have literal guy wanting to play God versus maybe Jesus. Like, pitting against one another, possibly. Because he's trying to say... I guess that is a good point. He's trying to do the whole thing with evolution and saying, like, I can create life. I can advance our society. We don't have to fear death anymore because you could just become this adorable werewolf Frankenstein. What's the problem with that? It's just running off of Shimmer and everything. And Chemtech and everything else. Yeah, so it's the idea of Chemtech and functioning this evolution of society versus Victor, who's with Hextech, and the idea of these runes and something that's maybe spiritual and beyond humanity itself. Maybe. We don't know yet. But I can definitely see where that might be Singe versus Victor, maybe. At least in their MOs and what they're trying to achieve, right? Because you have Victor healing people. You have Singe literally bringing them back from the dead, only as a hodgepodge werewolf. So. Okay. All right. Fair enough. We'll get into that. Isha, I feel for Isha because she's kind of been, I don't want to say manipulated, that's not what I mean, but she has become friends with Jinx, but Isha doesn't know about Jinx's whole backstory. Jinx, what I liked about this episode was Jinx started to tell her about her backstory and was like, yeah, I was known as Powder, which is it almost felt like in this episode Jinx was starting to she had let go of Powder and was like, I'm not Powder, I hate Powder, Powder's dead. And in this episode, she was like, well, but that is who I was. Maybe, maybe I shouldn't totally give it up. And I wonder if Vi not killing her maybe had some impact on that. If maybe she is kind of feeling a little bit bad, like, oh, my sister actually didn't end up killing me and turning me in. So maybe, Jinx would never admit she's wrong, ever, but...
At the same time that Isha wasn't really listening.
That's the thing too, is that Jinx kind of goes on and on in this episode about some of her woes and some of the things she's regretting, but nobody's really listening to her. So it kind of feels, I felt sad for Jinx in this episode because you can see she's, whenever she's dealing with her trauma, she's trying to kind of work through it in this episode, and I really appreciated that. But Isha's a kid, she doesn't get it.
And Savika just wants her to be there to rally the people.
Savika just wants to, I say use as a harsh word, but Savika really at the end of the day knows that Jinx has power. And is like, you're wasting your influence by just sitting back here in the wings when you could be rallying everybody together. And Jinx is like, I am not an authoritative status figure, whatever, let people do what they want. She's like, I'm all for chaos, but I want to rally folks together. She is kind of like the Joker, in a sense. Right?
A little bit.
But yeah, I mean, you think back to Silco and Jinx, what she's doing with Isha, I feel like Silco had motivation behind it that Jinx didn't even know about. Jinx didn't know about Silco and Vander's whole history. So she didn't realize that Silco was doing things to Jinx for reasons that are his own agenda. And Isha doesn't realize that Jinx has this attachment to her because of her own past. So it's kind of like this generational trauma that keeps going on down the line. I still think that kid's going to die. They keep giving us so many chances of like, something's going to happen. And I was like, she's the linchpin that's going to drive Jinx.
She has zero survival instinct.
No! And I thought that honestly Singe was going to do something with her, but...
Oh, no, he was leading the monster there for a test drive.
Yeah, this was literally to test him to see if he'd come to him or whatever. That's my thing, though. I'm like, because if Warwick recognizes Jinx as Powder, and Jinx realizes that it's Warwick as Vander, and they team up together, do you not think Singe is going to be like, oh, you've taken my creation, but I might need to use that?
No, here's the thing. He's pretty much turned Vander into a werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
You could keep the werewolf in the little cage dungeon, go out, cut yourself, all that, or you could let those two girls take him, follow him around, lead him to all those places. They're going to get into trouble, which is going to get them into fights, and that's going to be combat experience that he could watch.
Oh.
Without having to cut himself and potentially make himself a target.
So, would we say that he's possibly going to let Warwick go with Jinx and Savika, kind of like, and use them to give experience to Warwick and for further experimentation, kind of like what Ambessa is doing by using Caitlyn to do the Piltover Dazan thing? Like, both Ambessa and Singe are like, we'll use these people to further our agenda, but keep us out of the equation.
Yeah.
Right, even though Ambessa's kind of more involved than Singe.
But she's also a general and a warrior. He is a scientist.
Right. All these threads are crossing together, and we still didn't get any updates on Jace or Heimerdinger or Victor or Vi or this trollop. This trollop. I wish you could have seen my brother's face. I wish you could have seen him when I looked over to him and this red-haired daywalker. Orange-haired daywalker.
More tangerine.
This tangerine Nami ripoff was sitting there with Caitlyn. I was like, it's been a month. That didn't take any time to find someone else now, did it? The gall.
These hoes ain't loyal.
Oh, no, these hoes ain't loyal at all. You know that Vi is in a pit somewhere. Vi is like in the bottom of a well in ennui, in anguish, wondering like what she did wrong with Caitlyn, how she can get back with Caitlyn, and this hoe's already moved on. The nerve.
To be fair, it's a cute little Scottish girl.
To be fair, women with grown women needs, but I feel for Vi. I felt personally vindictive for Vi. I'd been like, your loyal, won't change, could have been girlfriend has already moved on and is scissoring with this Scottish girl in the army.
Police force, not army.
I feel passionate about my ships. And I hate when they're commandeered. There's been a mutiny!
Meanwhile, I'm over here in my little dinghy watching all the other ships burst into flames.
My brother is watching my ship go down in flames.
From a dinghy.
From a dinghy? Oh, I was just... Again.
I'm like Jack Sparrow at the beginning of Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm on the dinghy.
Caitlyn would have waited. Well, Vi would have waited. Vi would have waited for Caitlyn. Vi ain't going around getting with all the jinxers and that harem that we know of. I doubt it, though. I feel like Vi's...
Well, one of the places she went for information was a brothel.
But she didn't hook up with any of the brothel.
No, she tricked Caitlyn into getting with one of the people at the brothel.
Because she knew she was a hoe!
Because she wanted her distracted.
I thought they were on the same page, but clearly Caitlyn has no problem shacking up with someone while her former girlfriend
We've still got 5 more episodes. Throw some water on the poop deck and let it.
I don't want to hear that metaphor. No, I just stop it. I mean, it's a great scene. I'm glad Caitlyn's needs are being met, but we know Vi's needs aren't being met, and I feel for her. I'm vindictive for Vi on her behalf. This Scottish trollop. How dare she?
You spent more time talking about the Scottish trollop.
Okay, so I do want to talk about the two Beatles. I'll be honest, when this first started, I know, has it been a while since you've read Berserk?
A little bit.
A little bit. Okay, these are slight Berserk spoilers. When I do this again, they will be gone. Towards the manga, like right where I've caught up, in Falconia, there is a pit where they're all of the demons, the demon army that Griffith has, they're all fighting each other. And when we started this scene, I thought it was going to cut to like a fighting ring, and there were going to be those two like as these giant bugs battling it out. End of Berserk spoilers. But that's not what happens. It was a fake out, and it was just her playing with Isha. So what were you getting riled up about the bugs?
Those are in the jungle of the game.
Which is a place that you play in.
Yeah, in between the lanes.
Okay.
There is a river that goes from corner to corner.
Okay.
And in that river, you find them.
Oh, okay.
Scuttlebugs.
Okay.
You kill them, they go back, and they become like wards that tell you when somebody is walking over them.
Oh, so you can end up using them to help you after you defeat them.
Yes. Usually they end up right in front of these two boss monster pits. So you could tell if the enemy team's going near there or not, or prevent them from going there because they don't want you to know, oh, I'm going to get the dragon, or I'm going to get the elder.
Oh, okay. So this was like a nice little homage to that.
Yeah.
To those characters. Okay. My brother's into bugs. So anytime there's like a bug thing, bug Pokemon, bug characters, you're getting really excited. And I was like, oh, what is this? And then the fake out is that they're tiny.
Yeah. They literally cannot attack back in the river. You're just attacking a passive mob that just wants to walk around the water.
Okay. Gotcha. This was the scene that kind of got me on board with Jinx because she's just playing with Isha and they're making a game out of it and it's kind of innocent and cute. So is Isha a rabbit? Like part rabbit?
I think that was a hat.
Or was it just like a headband?
I think it was a headband.
Okay. I didn't know if she was like a fauna and like had to hide her ears
if you could find a close-up of it, we could tell for sure.
I know. I want to get like a close-up and see for sure. Maybe, because it looked like they look like ears that were just, but maybe they are just a headband. But they look like they're actual ears. I don't know.
Then where are they when she dyes it?
Well, I thought maybe she tucked them because I thought you could see for a second her tucking them under her hair. Maybe it is a headband. Maybe it is. I don't know. So, are we thinking that she's mute? She can't talk?
Yeah.
Okay. She does make like some noise, some like grunts and stuff, but she doesn't really talk or speak. I definitely can see where Jinx finds her so much like herself and starts to see that in her. Also, Isha starts to do the cloud tattoos that are like she imitates them on her when she's playing Jinx, which I think is fine because Jinx is a dreamer. She has like all these schemes and ideas of how she wants the world to be, and Jinx cannot help but mess stuff up, which is kind of sad. But yeah, she just wants to, she dyes her hair blue, which is super cute. Like all the other people have dyed their hair blue. Yeah, see, I thought that her ears were tucked up, like, right around here. Maybe then I could be wrong. But she has, like, the little makings of the braids, like what Jinx has. But, yeah. And, see, I really liked her conversation with Isha about being powder. And there's, like, all those little footnotes and everything. Like, she has fish bones there. But there's little post-its and stuff of her and Vi and of the monkey. All of that.
Then we go back to Lamb Man.
Lamb Man! Okay, I honestly thought this scene was hilarious only because Ambessa was like, why can none of these hillbilly inventors know anything about this tech? And I'm like, because there was only 3 people that ever worked on the tech. It's like...
Which is weird because they made that giant-ass tower.
I mean, true, but if you just had workers following Jace's specs and they don't know how... It's kind of like if you have mechanics that just follow the instructions, but they don't know how it works.
But you'd think they'd at least, like, look at the notes, look at the research. Jason and Victor would make it to where they could actually read and learn about it.
But that's the thing. They didn't. That's the thing. They didn't make it to where anybody could learn it. And that's kind of one of the things where, like, Heimerdinger's like, are you going to tell everybody how to use this tech? And it kind of goes back to season 1, where everybody was kind of being greedy and trying to hoard it, being like, well, we only want so many people to have the access to the Hextech. We don't want to have competition, and we don't want people getting there. And now it's blown up in their face, because now nobody knows how to work it except for Jace and Heimerdinger, and, well, Jinx knows how to work it to an extent. Yeah. And Echo knows how to work it to an extent. But they're not there. And so these people are just like, oh, just kind of know what to do, but not really. I love them pulling out the opera glasses and being like, let's see how this turns out. And they just get incinerated by the tech. Mm-hmm. I like Rictus. I don't like Rictus's police brutality, but I do appreciate that he is an anchor for Ambessa.
Well, he's not really a police officer. He's a soldier. Right.
They're like... I feel like Ambessa and Rictus are playing their own game, and they're just, like, using Piltover to get to their own agenda. So they don't really care in the long run.
They just said right there, they believe that the Black Rose and them are afraid of Hextech.
Yes. Which is interesting, because I feel like Singe and the blood and the thing is connected to Black Rose, inadvertently. Possibly.
Not really.
You don't think so?
Warwick has an ability where if
I don't want to know, are we going to find out about it in the show? Because I don't want to be spoiled on it if we find out.
It's just a basic skill.
Okay, but let's wait and see if we find out about it.
Okay.
But you don't think that they're connected?
No.
Okay. All right. Interesting. I do like Ambessa's... I like Ambessa as a character because she's so desperate. She wants... And Ambessa's so used to being in control and in charge of things. And the fact that the Black Rose has taken Mel and she doesn't know anything about it or what to do... Like, we kind of see her not know what to do in this scenario and kind of struggle, which is interesting, I think. But yeah. And so then we have everybody trying to go through, and Rictus...
Yeah, because see, he was able to figure out...
who was part of the crowd.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it only makes sense that she'd be able to point out Jinx.
I also like the little things this show is doing, like to show how we're going to connect things together, because Batman being there... He was at the rally, too. He's going to know everything to tell Echo and then when they meet back up and be like...
If he survived
Warwick. If he survived Warwick. Yeah, we didn't see... We'll have to go back and see if he was one of the victims. But if he survived Warwick, he would know about Warwick. He could tell Jace and Echo and Heimerdinger about Warwick, about the rally, about Jinx, about all of this. He would be their connection to learn all this information. I feel like somebody's going to have to get out to tell Echo and them. And he seemed like he was Echo's closest... confidant, so we'll have to look at the end and see if he made it out or not. But yeah. And then, oh, this kid making the statement with the little monkey on the side of the wall. Uh-huh. So yeah, I'm glad at least that Caitlyn and them know it wasn't Jinx. They knew it had to be an impersonator.
Well, it's only because of the little Scottish trollop.
True. And Ambessa knew exactly what she was like, oh, hanging around often lately. I just not leaving the building, are we? See how this goes down? Like, she knew exactly what was going on. She did not beat around the bush. The gall. The audacity. I'm going to have a stick against Caitlyn the rest of this season until she gets back. She better tell Vi, be like, oh, by the way, I know you were suffering in angst because of our breakup, but I moved on. What a trollop.
And it's with the girl who was a big fan of yours.
Oh my god, it was! The whole ship was commandeered. Never before has there been such mutiny! You're enjoying my ship flailing. Just you wait.
I am sitting on Mihawk's boat, watching all this happen.
Just you wait. I do like the fact that even through all of this, Caitlyn doesn't trust Ambessa. She does stay critical of her because she knows, like, I know at the end of the day, like, I'm doing this because it's the only option I see viable, but at the end of the day, I know I can't trust you. And Ambessa would see something if she had the chance to. I honestly thought Ambessa was going to go more into, like, does Caitlyn even know Mel's disappeared?
I think she thinks something's wrong, but because that other guy, he points it out that she's gone. And... Yeah.
So, but I feel the fact that we haven't heard Caitlyn kind of connect the dots and know if she's gone, I thought that Ambessa was going to go into the fact of being like, I thought she was going to try to persuade Caitlyn and be like, oh, well, I've lost my daughter. She's missing. And so I understand how you feel and blah, blah, blah. But she didn't go that route. So I guess that's a good thing. Okay. Lest and Sallow. This whole scene. He is like addicted to the shimmer, right?
Yeah, it's been a slower process than the others.
But he's addicted to it because he tells her to come back earlier.
Because it's having less and less of an effect.
And I feel like she's like...
and you could see the effects of drug use on him.
Oh, yeah, his eyes and everything.
His face is sunken in a little. He is far cry from the first season.
No, the eyes and everything. What gets me is that... Because Lest is mainly there to get information about Ambessa, right? Possibly. Any information. But I feel like when she saw him ask to come back the next day, she was like, ooh, I'm going to end up being here way more than I want to be. And that's going to put me in danger of being outed as a spy. So I was thinking that's why she brought up Victor, to be like, ooh, I might need to escape.
I think it's more of she can actually see there's something wrong with him.
You think so?
He was honest with her. He knows that she's only courteous enough because she's the best one at playing their egos.
Yeah, I like Les's character a lot. Okay, on the Discord, we're talking about shipping. There are people that say they ship Les and Mel. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I ship Jace and Victor, even though they are currently broken apart. So I am perfectly fine with Mel and Les as a ship if it means I get my Jace and Victor ship. I'm fine with this. I'm okay with this. Don't you smirk over there. But I'm like, this is again another one of those connections, because if Sallow goes to find Victor, Sallow has connections to Ambessa and all them, and if he's like, oh, by the way, Victor's alive, and here's what's happening with him, because he'll recognize Victor, presumably. We would think he'd recognize him.
He may not.
Well, we'll have to see how that goes, but I would think that getting him to go to Victor, he might recognize him. He's definitely going to go because he looks at that wheelchair like, I'm currently disabled. I don't want to be in this wheelchair forever.
He's running out of options.
Yeah, and if he thinks that that's going to heal him. What do you think about Savika's hairstyle? My brother's like,
yeah.
I don't mind it. It looks kind of goth. Her guns, though, she was like, I like that Jinx calls her lefty because her left arm the one that gets tore off, which was pretty funny. I do feel for Savika a little bit because Savika's like, we need to rally everybody before we all die from Piltover coming down here.
And she lost the cool arm.
She did lose the cool arm.
Right after she got it.
She did just get it and lose it. From Warwick, right?
No, from
the
Rick.
Oh!
He threw the spear and it went through her arm.
That's right, from Rick just throwing the spear. That's what, because when she came and told her that the kid was kidnapped, she had the green oozing out of it. She did lose the cool arm.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, that cool arm would have been annoying after a while. Maybe that just means Jinx gets to make her a new one. She's just gonna make her a shark arm, like Left Hand Shark from Katy Perry Super Bowl. No. I do get where Savika is concerned. I also kind of like the fact that they have the statue. Like, is Warwick going to stand in front of the statue of Vander? Like, what?
He did already.
I mean, technically, yes, he did. Yes. But that's just... Oh, he did stand in front of it during the scene with the...
With the blood when he was following it.
Oh, that should have been a hint, too. That should have been a hint that it was Vander, too. See, this is what got me with Jinx. Jinx is like, at least... Jinx is not being a total hypocrite, and she's standing by the fact she's like, I'm an anarchist. I'm just doing this for my own thing. I'm not Silco. I'm not leading the underground. I don't want to be this status symbol. And I feel like, do you feel like by the end, when they all like patted her on the shoulder and everything, like, I felt kind of two ways with it. What did you think about that?
I think Jinx is just doing this to get the kid. She doesn't really care. Getting everybody else out, that's just bonus. But now they also have to remember all the people they arrested, they're not going to go back. And if they do go back, they're going to tell them there's this monster on the loose that killed a whole bunch of our people. And what do you think's going to happen when they see that monster with Jinx?
Oh,
they're going to be like, you let them go just to feed that creature.
Oh, I hadn't thought about it that way. That there is a fact this could all backfire, because it seemed like it reminded me from season 1 of Game of Thrones or season 2 where all the people were with Daenerys and they were all like, oh, we're gonna hold you up as our new savior and all this, and it was a simple, like, they held her up and it was very simple and quiet, and this is kind of the same deal with them all patting her on the shoulder, and you think that for once Jinx is gonna get like this in, because it seems like what I liked about this episode too was that Jinx wasn't even referring to Isha as like her minion or her kid. She just said a friend. Like, she just wanted a friend, and there's such like a childlike innocence with that. And I was like, oh, so she just wants somebody to connect to since she doesn't have her sister. And in that moment where they're all patting her shoulder, I was like, oh, well, they're all kind of giving her that friendship too. And then Warwick comes in and kills almost all of them. So I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah, if she goes back to the underworld and has Warwick with her, are they going to turn on her and be like, what have you done? Ooh. Because then Savika brings up, like, Silco protected you, but also Silco used her, so it's like, it's a different thing than her and Isha, which I appreciate. Jinx is not using Isha. Isha's just being influenced by Jinx without Jinx really being aware of it. Which I liked that angle in this episode a lot. I appreciated that. So yeah, and I like the cracked mirror and everything, the symbolism with that. I love the scene where she talks to the chair of Silco. That's so good. Like, it's like a pendulum, and it almost felt like her personality would switch every time the chair went back and forth. What did you think about that?
I thought it was a good little moment for her.
I love that moment. And I feel like Jinx is like, am I a hero? And I like, Jinx is not a hero. She's an anti-hero, if anything.
For the people of Zaun, who are currently being, like, under military control.
Right. I mean, I guess you could view Jinx as... But is Jinx emblematic of justice? She seems like she's anarchy, which is the opposite of that.
Yes, but she's never outright come out and told them.
Right. They don't know that she represents anarchy.
All she's done is shown action, and then Savika goes in and says all this.
Savika tries to give some order to her chaos, but that's not Jinx' MO.
Yeah.
I'm glad that Jinx didn't show up at the statue, because that would have seemed not in her character at all. And like you said, she's just there to get Isha out of the cell. She really didn't care about the other people that got imprisoned. She just wanted to get the kid because that's her friend. So I like Jinx more as a Shadow the Hedgehog type figure than like a Sonic or a Knuckles. I like her without any order. But I like that she is self-aware. And in this episode, you find out she's not as malicious as Silco or Singe. She's just kind of this distraught, traumatized kid that doesn't realize the weight of her actions. And it's very sad. So yeah, and then she has that whole scene there. And then the police brutality scene was rough. That was rough.
That's military interrogation.
That was rough. And I love the transition of, you had the Bat guy at the mural. I forgot Vi and Powder were on the mural at the tree. I forgot about that. You had him. Then you had the statue with Caitlyn where she was at the people, her mom and the others. Then you had Savika in front of the Vander statue. Like, I thought that transition was really, really good. That one was really good.
Meanwhile, you got him getting the info that he needed. And if that guy had just kept his mouth shut,
then it wouldn't have happened. Because at first, that's what I thought. I was mad at what is the name? Is it Actus? Atticus? Is it Atticus? What? Rictus, thank you. I was mad at Rictus because I was like, you're just going to kill that guy and he's not going to tell you anything. And then what does he do? He tells them where they're going to meet at. And then poor Isha gets the Jinx makeup on, like she's going to paint the town blue, roll credits.
You got all the people showing up.
Mm-hmm. The sad part is that even though Warwick is back, it's not Vander, it's Warwick. It's not, and that's why I think that's going to be tragic too, because I think Jinx is going to think of the possibility that Vander's back, quote unquote. But it's like...
And what's Savika going to think? Because she backstabbed Vander.
Yeah! Oh, yeah! Absolutely. So is that going to drive a wedge between her and Jinx? Or... But I don't consider Warwick to be Vander. I consider Warwick to be its own being. Because it can't be Vander. It's too... There may be hints of Vander there, but I don't think it's totally Vander.
Got memories.
I mean, clearly it has memories because it said powder, but... I mean, that's kind of like reanimating a corpse. if there's some, is there a soul there, or is it a tampered soul?
You reanimate Abraham Lincoln. Is it still Abraham Lincoln?
Exactly, right? You can't. Full Metal Alchemist has taught me that you can't bring someone 100% back from the dead. It doesn't work that way.
Well, of course not. Decomposition gets rid of most of it.
Shush. How do we feel about Jinx having a harem of Jinxers? How do we feel about that? And they're all women, basically. I mean, there's some guys thrown in there, but in the prison, they were all women.
I don't think she really cares.
No, she was just kind of like, okay, cool, bye.
she saw Vi with Caitlyn, and she was like, screw this. I'm being asexual. Jinx is our asexual representation. Screw love.
Even though she has, like, the bisexual flag in her colors, yeah, I would not consider Jinx to be a romantic individual. What was interesting is the bat guy takes his helmet off, and then that's when Rictus and all of them show up to break up the rally and everything. That kid is brave. That kid, Isha, like, going after Rictus, I thought, again, there was a lot of fake outs.
Yeah, you see that her punches are doing nothing.
Oh, yeah, but I thought he was going to, like, throw her against the statue.
2 rifles against a scalpel.
You brought a gun to a scalpel fight, except there was like a secret werewolf in the wings, right? It's like rock, paper, scissors, werewolf. But I thought that Rictus was gonna toss that kid. She was gonna hit her head against the statue or something and like bust her head open or something. I was predicting a much more gruesome means. God, that's so crazy. The werewolf. Oh my God. Wild. But, you know, Jinx is probably gonna feel sympathy for Warwick because Jinx feels, I'm sure, a little bit Frankenstein-y herself, being from Powder to Jinx, and is probably going to feel sympathy for Warwick being from Vander to Warwick, you know? Probably is going to feel that same amount of sympathy.
That, and she was the one that exploded the factory they were in while they were trying to get Vander out. Is that why you think Warwick reacted to the grenade? No, he remembers she used to make those. Yes, but that's what he saw the grenade and thought of her. And then looked at her and... Put 2 and 2 together. Yeah, but she's going to feel guilty because she's the one who blew up the factory that caused him to become mutated by the Shimmer. Are you saying that Warwick is going to be a source of angst for 90% of the characters in this series? Probably. Probably. Should we think that way? Let's face it, that was their dad. Yeah! Yes! No, that's why I'm like, when Vi sees this, Vi's gonna freak out and be like, what the fudge? Also, the whole scene at the harbor, or at the bridge, was hilarious. The fact that she comes out and the woman's like, you're not Jinx in those pants? She's like, she got the last say. Like, what's wrong with my pants? What's wrong with my pants? Like, I did like the levity of this episode, having Savika and Jinx, like, joke around. I thought that was really funny. I liked that, and then I liked... Telling the warden she could either swim or ride on the thing. Oh my God. The gross guy, the guy on the train with him when she flips him off with the metal finger, that part was great. The guy at the front desk made me think of, what's his face when he's in Deep Dragon Ball Z where he's like getting people into heaven or Hiffle. Like he's sitting there. Oh, Yama? Yama. He's sitting like old man Yama being like, we're all right, cell block C. But he had the big giant mahogany. Heaven, hell, purgatory. He had like the big mahogany desk. Mahogany. Yeah, and then, that tension between Ambessa walking by. I think Savika was like, please don't start a scene right here, right now until we get to the cell. Oh, a little thing they just showed. Her taser gun has the Hextech in it. Yes. So if another one of those events happen, it's gonna mess up and react. Shit. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Man, that neck cracking scene was really good. That reminded... I was thinking Jurassic Park. Like, the little train car comes, and it's already, like, worked its way in the train car and is killing everybody, and then busts out. It felt like Jurassic Park in that moment. Did you not think so? Oh, my God. So, then we get down there. Jinx lets them all go. Ambessa's waiting for them. Obviously, Ambessa made their way out. They're fine. Yeah. It most likely just blitzed right past them. I felt bad for Jinx because this was like the one time Jinx because Jinx like flinching and everything, like, and everybody touching her. Like, Jinx was like, everyone's always considered me a burden, and then she gets acknowledged for once for saving them, and she makes a joke out of it, but they genuinely are And then they're all dog chow.
And then, yeah, they all thank her. And I just noticed that Savika has, like, the blue inside her veins from the Hextech malfunctioning with the gun. Interesting. But, yeah, like, they all thank her, and I felt so bad for Jinx. I was like, this is the one moment she gets recognized. And then that Warwick comes into this. All right, I want to go back and see if we could see in that moment, because they get her out of there.
And then he closes the door.
Him closing the door being like, nope.
Being like, yeah, you all just stay right out there.
And he knew what he was doing because he had the blood on the gate, like he was leading it to him.
That's the ability.
Okay, I know it's going to come out. Yeah. I'm just saying the blood is like a tracker.
Yes.
Yes. The blood is like a tracker and he can follow it because he was following it up until that point. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. I like that the description for this episode says going into the belly of the beast. Womp womp. I want to go back and see that part. Okay, with Warwick. In that moment, because Savika's like, what the heck is going on? And we had all the guys come in.
And that's gotta point to something. I mean, those guys had just got there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Warwick, in the span of time, tore through all those people. Went down the elevator shaft.
Yeah, the speed in which that happened is pretty crazy.
Because you would think they'd start fighting, and then just right in the middle of it, he would do that.
Yeah, no, that happened insanely fast. Yeah, like the way they just show him barreling through everybody. And there's a lot of blood in this episode. Which is why I'm like, I feel so sad because Vander, like, to me, this is not Vander anymore. It's Warwick. Because Vander would not be about this.
Well, remember what his nickname was? He was the Hound of the Undercity.
Oh my god, he was. Wow. And here we go.
And now he's a wolf.
And now he's literally a hound. Oh
and
my god.
Look, Hextech
did nothing. He instantly healed. Oh no. And Jinx is like, well shit, that usually works. And Savika's like, oh shit, that didn't work. What do we do now? I'd have been like, get out of the way.
And he saw for a second there, he thought he saw Singe.
Because he is back there by...
Well, it's his blood he's tracking.
Oh my god. Okay, and then, yeah, it's a big fat hero. They do such a good job of hiding Vander's face where you can't really see it till the end. Oh my god.
Here she comes. She's using Zappy.
Yep. Oh, and then you can kind of see it. Like, that was the moment I was like, wait a minute. Because it didn't look full on wolf. I was like, oh no, wait.
Yeah, they changed his appearance for this.
Okay. Probably to not let every League of Legends person know right off bat.
Jinx, Vi, Jace, all of them, they got Arcane skins. So we might get an Arcane skin for Warwick.
That'd be cool. Now, didn't something similar happen in season 1 where Jinx was led away and like did the arm thing back like what Isha does back towards Jinx? Didn't that happen in season 1?
I think so.
Pretty early on?
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt like that was a parallel from that moment.
Yeah, so like I said, she's kiting.
What does kiting mean?
It's where as a long-range person, you don't want to be up close. So you move around, you try to keep your distance while shooting them.
Oh, that's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like about to reveal some move she was going to do.
You want to hit, move, hit, move, hit, move, hit, move.
Okay. That is the idea of Vander as a werewolf fighting Jinx when it's been powder in the past is so insane to me. That's so crazy and messed up. That's so messed up. Do you think that, okay, because this is a show and not the actual game, do you think that Jinx and Vi are going to have to team up to kill Warwick? To put Vander to rest?
They could do that, or if they hear about Victor and his miraculous healing powers, they could try to take him to him.
To get him to heal him and turn him back to Vander?
Yeah.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. I would say it's going to be one of those two things. Either the two of them are going to have to team up to kill him. And
Which also comes with Caitlyn finding out that Vi is now working with Jinx.
With Jinx, yeah, that would be.
It's gonna push her further into the little trollop's arms.
That trollop's gonna die by the end of this season. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. She's a red shirt. No, but you're right. It could either, if you go the route of Vi and Powder team up, and Powder's like, or Jinx is like, this was once Vander, and Vi's like, this isn't fair to bring him back from the dead. It's disrespectful to Vander. And Jinx will be like, fine, you're right, let's do this. Then that would also cause more conflict with Caitlyn, who'd be like, why are you teaming up together? I thought we knew better. But it could still do the same thing with Caitlyn, because if they both take him to Victor, they're still teaming up. And Caitlyn could be like, what are you doing? And then Caitlyn's gonna be mad at Victor. Which I'm like, you don't get mad at Arcane Jesus. Okay, so if we go back to this, hold on. Savika's like, shit, what are we doing? Okay, so
what do we got there?
There's somebody in armor on the ground. There's a bunch of guards. There is, I don't know if that's Batman or if it's somebody else. And then there's a cat person and somebody else running out. Okay, there's a couple of them. Most of them look like guards. I don't know if that's Atticus on top of the statue or not. I can't decide if that's Atticus up there on top of the statue. It could be.
You do have some injured people.
Yeah.
That's not going to help if they rung the bell for, like, reinforcements to show up.
Uh-huh. I feel so bad for Isha, though. Because she thinks Jinx is probably going to die. And there's some bodies there. Okay, yeah, I thought in this moment that Jinx was maybe, well, she was gonna try to kill herself and him with the grenade, right?
Yeah, but he grabbed her arm.
Oh my god. And then yeah, to stop her. Oh my god, it is Vander. Oh, that's so wild. Oh my god. Cause then yeah, he recognizes her. He recognized the grenade. Oh, that's so insane. So the question is, if he tracks using the blood, would Jinx use her blood to help him track or whatever? Possibly. Because it showed him, like, seeing
You can also see, like, veins.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, because he recognized her. Oh, my God. Oh, and the two-toned eyes. Look, this episode made me appreciate Jinx a lot more, which I'm very grateful for. It made me appreciate Caitlyn less because of her trollopness. I can only feel bad for Vi. And I really want Sallow to go find Victor, because I really just want to see Victor again. I want to see Victor and his motley crew again. I want to see Jason, Heimerdinger, and Echo again. I want to find out what the hell's happened to Mel. Although, okay, do you think, without getting into elaborate, because you know all about the Black Rose, do you think this series is going to show us, we're on episode 5 next, we have 2 more episodes of Act 2, and then we have Act 3, which is 3 episodes. Do you think that this season is going to show us with the Black Rose, or do you think this whole is going to lead us into another series?
It might lead us into another series.
Because you were saying that Noxia or whatever is its own place, right?
Noxian.
So Mel could be the bridge between this season and something to do with Noxian.
Yeah.
Possibly. What was your favorite part about this episode?
Warwick.
Without a doubt, yes. I'm surprised. I thought Warwick wasn't going to come into this until, like, the 7th or 8th episode, honestly. I thought they were going to save it and Singe was going to, like, release the hounds in, like, the final climactic number, and it was going to be like, oh, we think it's this thing, but here's the real villain. No, this is episode 4. And we're already here. What? That's so wild to me. I'd say my favorite part was the little bits with Jinx and Isha, honestly. I think that was gave me more perspective on Jinx, and I really appreciated that. But what was your least favorite part of the episode? Rhetorical question, it's the trollop.
Yeah, it was kind of the bugs for me. I thought they were gonna be a little bit bigger.
I know, it was a fake out. It really was a cameo of all cameos. So I get that. But y'all, I'm so glad that on Wednesday we get to watch episode 5 now, and maybe we'll get to see more Warwick. Maybe we'll get to see Jace, Victor, all of them, everything. I'm so excited. But thank you all so much for watching with us. We really appreciate it. I'm excited for Wednesday, aren't you? Mm-hmm. Yes. So, in any case, I look forward to hearing your comments down below. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, we'll be back real soon with more Arcane. Bye!